Hello and welcome to week 4. So we're in the last week. You do get a bonus video next week, so please stay tuned for that. But we are into last week. We are going to be talking about supplementation today. Right, big hot topic that everybody talks about, and in reality, it doesn't actually do that much for us. But I'd probably say 5% of you feeling better on a day-to-day basis comes from making sure that your diet is enhanced or covered the cracks with some supplementation, especially one of them. So we're going to talk about supplements. Do you need them? Are they safe? All right, so there is no research for any of the ones that I'm going to talk about today being negative to your health apart from caffeine, if you overdose on it, because you'd be stupid too. But my protein stopped doing the caffeine stick sachet things where you could actually, it was powdered. So you won't find caffeine powder anywhere now because it was found that a lot of people did overdose on it and die. Because some people are not very smart and decided to use grams instead of milligrams and give themselves a huge amount, basically snorting it. So a little background, basically there's a lot of money in it. Alright, that's all you need to know. People try to sell you stuff, like 99% of the stuff that's tried to be sold on Instagram, social media, Facebook, etc. is absolutely garbage. There's a lot of push for gummies at the minute. Like everything's in a gummy form, and most things degrade under the amount of heat that it is necessary to create the gummies over the period of time. So like creatine gummies, for example. Creatine degrades with heat, alright, and the fact that they've got to get into a gummy jelly form, it's going to be heated for a long period of time, which would degrade the creatine. These are the ones that I know work, or at least have some element of research backing behind it. And yeah, they're all legal. So we've got 3 types. We've got health, performance, and condition dependent. So condition dependent would be something like iron for someone who is an endurance athlete or a female who has heavy menstrual cycles. Things like ashwagandha for people that are struggling to sleep or have anxiety. The health ones that we're going to go over. So you have omega-3, so cod liver oil, fish tablets. Usually have them, and then 2 hours later you burp and up comes some like fish, and it's grim. But basically they increase cell health. They increase literally everything. They make everything better. All right. The way they work is they essentially become the cell wall to an extent and allow transportation between the blood and the cell, make it a lot easier. They reduce heart rate, they reduce blood pressure, increase joints, help with vitamin storage, and help with sort of brain and the neural activity that comes with it, because they are a fat, and we know that from previous that your neural network and brain are just essentially just a fat network with some electricity that was like plugged in. Vitamin D is probably the one that I see most commonly deficient. So between the months of September and March, we get no sunlight that actually gets absorbed into vitamin D in our skin. Plus, we're not going out there half naked. Even now, like it's May, and you're probably not going to get as much vitamin D as you think you are, because you're going out. Like, it's fucking freezing today, so you're going out there cold. You're not going to be exposing your skin to sunlight. So the reason it's so important is because, one, of immunity. So the lower your vitamin D, the higher your rate of getting ill is going to be. It's really massive for fatigue, like just being generally tired on a day-to-day basis. Like vitamin D will sort most of that for you, providing other things. Really good for bone health, and because it's a fat soluble vitamin, you can actually bolus dose it, so you can just take a shit ton at once. We don't want to be taking that much, but you can take up to like 100,000 IUs. But 4,000 IUs a day is absolutely adequate. You might want to double that in winter, just for the stuff that you're not going to get from sunlight. And yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. Multivit, it just covers the cracks. All right, I wouldn't ever not have a multivit in there. Like, it is worth it, just because even if 50% of what's in the multivit gets pissed out, at least you're covering the cracks with the other 50%. Most people don't hit their vitamin daily requirements. Magnesium helps with vitamin D absorption, reduces blood pressure. Right, it helps with sleep, so I would typically have this at some point in the afternoon. and it's really good for testosterone production and hormone production within men, and really good over the menstrual cycle and menopause. Performance, we have 3. One of them is not underlined, which is quite nice. First of all, we have creatine monohydrate. This could be in health as well. It's something that's massive at the minute, but creatine monohydrate increases size, strength, increases muscular endurance. It helps with cognitive function, and there's so much more research coming out to the cognitive availability of creatine, because your brain has its own creatine stores. So we can even go beyond that 5 grams a day, and you're still going to get a benefit from it from a cognitive perspective. Side effects of having 20 grams a day would be just the gut would probably not like that. All right, caffeine, perfect pre-workout. All right, so if you have a pre-workout drink, there's only 2 things in a pre-workout that you'd actually want to have in a pre-workout, and that's caffeine and citrulline malate. So caffeine increases excitability, increases reaction time, increases muscular endurance. It is carbohydrate sparing, so you would have more carbohydrates later on in your session available to you, so you'll be able to last for longer and get a little bit more out of your session. It is a massive placebo effect. Caffeine itself just makes you feel more of a buzz. All right, it can affect sleep. With that, I would always start people on 200 milligrams, but if you want the actual dosage, it's 2 to 6 milligrams per kilo body weight. So if you're 100 kilos, you can have 200 to 600 milligrams. Okay. Obviously, if you're a habitual coffee drinker and you have quite a lot of caffeine on your day-to-day basis, you probably won't feel the effects of the caffeine as much, but the effects are still happening with the body. You just won't notice them as much. So you might not get that buzz, but it is still having these profound effects on your exercise. Citrulline malate, 8 grams, 30 to 45 minutes before you work out. This is the reason all pre-workouts are sour, because it comes from citric acid. It is a vasodilator, increases your blood vessel size, increases the amount of blood you can get to your muscles, and it increases the pump that you feel within the muscles. It is physiologically not going to change you, but psychologically it's going to give you a massive benefit. All right, because when we feel like the pump's going on, you're like, yeah, it's that lifting. All right, they're not magic. Like, for most part, you're looking at like a 1 to 2% benefit. Like caffeine and creatine are probably your big ones in that. Vitamin D for your health. All right, I take a few more. So I take the creatine, multivit, omega-3, vitamin D, magnesium. I also take ashwagandha because it helps with my anxiety, helps me sleep, and I take caffeine and citrulline malate as well. Now that we are coming to, you are on week 4. All right. If you have enjoyed this process so far, I know that I hope that most people get to this stage. Most people, like some people, obviously drop off. If you would like to have a chat with me, there's no obligation to sign up or anything like that. But if you want to have a chat with me, talk about what might be next, how you might use what I've taught you in these 4 weeks to go on and do other bigger and better things, you can scan the QR code, or I've put the link in the email as well, so you can book a consultation with me. We'll have a chat, all right, and hopefully you get some ideas off the back of that. And like I said, there's no obligation to sign up. It's completely free, etc. All right. Next week there is a bonus video wrapping everything up, so you'll be able to just put everything in a nice little bow and crack on. All right. So hopefully, I think that most people do typically see quite a significant weight drop in this. So it might not be the 5 kilos, but I'd like to think that you've lost at least something and taken quite a lot from these. I'll catch up with you next week. Have a great week, and I'll catch up with you then. Bye.